if on Emancipation Day they could say, well, from this point, 1st of August, in the spirit of emancipation, we are stopping the police from eradicating plantations. We are going to the prison and emancipate people who are in there for possession of small quantities of cannabis. I mean, there are things the government can do, and we want to see these things happen as well.
That was President of the Iyanola Council for the Advancement of Rastafari, Aaron Alexander. The pro-Ganja activist is calling for the government to use the observance of Emancipation Day to demonstrate solidarity in the move towards the decriminalization of cannabis. Moreover, Communication Officer for Icar, Emerson Nis, says the constitutional claim filed by the council to impose a stay on arrest for cannabis-related offences has not yielded the desired results for the organization.
There was also a ruling handed down by the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court about the constitutional motion filed on behalf of legal counsel David Moiston regarding a stay of arrest for anyone found with cannabis, commonly known as marijuana. The result is the suspension of possession and cultivation charges against 2 Icar members amidst current negotiations to finally remove prohibition of the sacramental and industrial plant. Although Icar's request as claimant number 1 toward a stay of arrest for all citizens was turned down, the organization applauds the state's decision at this time to proceed with cannabis legalization after a prolonged period of struggle connected with calls starting with the Rastafarian movement to free the herb. This is certainly light at the end of a long dark tunnel of countless arrests, false imprisonments, and even police brutality in this country dating as far back as the 1970s. A victorious day indeed for global human rights and a step in the right direction away from an unforgiving past, including incidents such as that woeful raid on top Mount Jimmy.
Nurse says the conversation needs to move past recreational and medicinal use and focus rather on the potential for industrial use to address the issue of unemployment.
Hemp fibers can be used to create anything from paper, clothing and textiles. Even Henry Ford built an entire automobile from just hemp, so for all of these reasons I'm thankful for yesterday's ruling by the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court.
Special thanks were also given to ex-chair of the cannabis movement, Andre de Keris, for his dedication to advocacy for a legalized regime. Alexander was probed as to whether a new face would replace de Keris at the helm of the cannabis movement.
The cannabis movement have actually outlived its time, and it has done its work, and we are now very much focusing on establishing the THC, pun intended here. The THC is the substance in cannabis, as you know. The THC is the substance within cannabis that gives you that high. So we are moving on a very high note right now. So the herbal cooperative, we call it THC. So we are now looking at the THC as taking up that role and having a component, an educational component within the cooperative to do some advocacy if it becomes necessary again. But I think the cannabis movement has actually outlived its time.
The Rastafarian community continues to lobby the government to act in good faith by ceasing arrest and imprisonment of cannabis cultivators and users at the penal complex as violent offenders. Emancipation Day marks the abolition of slavery in many former European colonies in the Caribbean and the US and is observed annually on August 1st in St. Lucia. Solange Alfred, HCS News Force.